A humble grandmother stood beside her 8-year-old grandson, carefully counting the coins in her trembling hands. Her grocery bag contained only a few essentials: rice, milk, and a loaf of bread. But each coin she laid on the counter carried the weight of sacrifice. Behind the counter, an impatient cashier sighed loudly, tapping the register with irritation, his eyes narrowing with disdain. His words were sharp, cruel, and carried easily through the store. Coins? Seriously? This isn't a charity, ma'am. Maybe next time bring a card like normal people. The elderly woman froze, her cheeks flushing red as customers began to whisper. Her grandson, clutching a box of chocolate cookies, looked up with innocent confusion. Those were his favorite, the same cookies his late mother used to buy him. The grandmother had picked them up despite knowing her budget was tight. She had promised her daughter before she passed away that she'd do everything to keep this little boy smiling, no matter how hard life became. The cashier smirked again. "What's wrong? Didn't bring enough? People like you always hold up the line." His voice grew louder, feeding on the quiet embarrassment that filled the room. The woman's lips trembled. I think we'll leave the cookies," she whispered, her voice barely audible. The boy forced a small smile, trying to be brave for her. "It's okay, Grandma. I wasn't really in the mood for cookies anyway." His voice cracked as he placed the box on the counter. The cashier snatched it and tossed it aside. "Finally," he said, rolling his eyes. "Maybe now we can move faster." But then, from a few steps behind in the line, a low voice interrupted the silence. Calm, deep, firm. "That's enough." Everyone turned. Standing quietly near the magazine rack was a tall man wearing a simple black jacket, a cap pulled low over his dark hair. He removed his face mask slowly, revealing a familiar face, one that made several shoppers gasp. Jungkook. The cashier blinked, unsure at first if it was really him. But that voice and the piercing, unwavering look in his eyes left no doubt. Jungkook stepped forward, his presence alone shifting the atmosphere. The once noisy store fell into utter silence. "Do you always treat your customers like this?" he asked softly. "Or is today special?" The cashier swallowed hard, trying to keep control of the situation. "Sir, I was just saying..." "Just saying what?" Jungkook interrupted gently, his tone measured but unshakable. "That it's okay to humiliate an elderly woman because she's paying with coins? Do you even know what she's been through? What kind of person does that make you?" The cashier's face reddened. "I was just trying to keep the line moving." Jungkook tilted his head slightly, his voice low but steady. "At the cost of someone's dignity?" The other customers shifted uncomfortably, guilt washing over some of their faces. One woman near the back whispered, "Is that really Jungkook from BTS?" The murmurs spread quickly, but Jungkook didn't care. His eyes stayed on the cashier. "She's paying just like everyone else," Jungkook continued. "You don't need to know someone's story to treat them with respect." The old woman tried to interject, her voice trembling. "Please, sir, it's fine." But Jungkook turned to her, his expression softening instantly. "No, ma'am, it's not fine. No one deserves to be treated like that." He crouched slightly to meet the boy's eyes. "You like cookies?" he asked kindly. The boy nodded shyly. "Then we'll make sure you get them today, okay?" Jungkook turned back to the cashier. "Cancel this transaction," he said calmly. The cashier blinked. "Cancel it? But she..." "I said cancel it," Jungkook repeated. His tone wasn't raised, but it carried absolute authority. "We're starting again. I'll pay for everything, and we're going to make sure she gets what she needs." The cashier hesitated, sweat beading on his forehead as he voided the purchase. Jungkook smiled at the grandmother. "Come on, let's grab another cart," he said warmly. "This time, no holding back. Take what you need and what you want. You've earned that." The grandmother shook her head, tears filling her eyes. No, I couldn't possibly. This is too much, Jungkook." Jungkook gently took her hand. "You've already done so much for your grandson. Let me do something small in return. Sometimes accepting help is the bravest thing we can do." The boy's face lit up with a grin that hadn't been there in months. "Can we, Grandma? Please?" The old woman's lips trembled, then curved into a smile. "Okay," she whispered. Thank you, Jungkook. As they walked through the aisles together, Jungkook pushed the cart himself, encouraging them to choose freely. Don't worry about the price, he said softly. Today's about you two. He tossed a few extra items into the cart, more milk, more fruit, some snacks for the boy. He even pointed to a small toy section near the end of the aisle. Liam, right? Pick one. The boy's eyes sparkled. Really? Really? Jungkook smiled. Whatever you want. The shoppers nearby began recording quietly, unable to contain their awe. Many had tears in their eyes as they watched the global superstar, known for his humility, moving through the aisles with gentle kindness. No cameras, no entourage, just sincerity. At the checkout, Jungkook placed everything on the counter. Let's ring all of it, he said simply. The new cashier, a kind-faced young woman, processed the items with trembling hands, clearly moved. You're amazing, she whispered. Jungkook smiled faintly. No, he said, glancing at the grandmother and her grandson. They are. When the total appeared, he paid without hesitation, refusing a receipt. Then, before they could thank him again, he knelt beside the boy and said quietly, You know, heroes aren't people who are famous. Heroes are people who love and protect. Your grandma is a real hero. The boy threw his arms around Jungkook, who hugged him back with a warmth that silenced the entire store. When they pulled away, the grandmother whispered, You've given us more than groceries today. You've given us dignity. Jungkook smiled softly. And you've reminded me what kindness really means. Customers began clapping. Some even wiped away tears. The moment was pure, unplanned, human. Before leaving, Jungkook turned once more to the cashier, who had humiliated the woman. Kindness doesn't cost anything, he said gently, but it changes everything. Days later, the video of the incident spread online like wildfire. Millions watched Jungkook quietly defend a stranger, buying her groceries and reminding the world of compassion in its simplest form. Comments flooded every platform. Asterisk, this is why Jungkook is loved by millions. Asterisk, asterisk. He didn't do it for the cameras. He did it because he cares. Asterisk, asterisk. This is what being human looks like. Asterisk. The store later released a statement apologizing for the employees' behavior, promising to implement new empathy training for their staff. The cashier, now deeply remorseful, requested to meet the grandmother to apologize in person. She forgave him, saying gently, Everyone deserves a second chance. A few weeks later, the grandmother received a surprise call. Hello, ma'am, said the familiar voice on the other end. It's Jungkook. She almost dropped the phone. Oh, Jungkook, I didn't expect this. I just wanted to check on you and Liam, he said warmly, and to tell you that I've arranged for a small scholarship for him. He's got a bright future, and I want to help him reach it. Tears filled her eyes again. I don't know what to say. Just promise me one thing, Jungkook replied softly. Keep smiling. The world needs more of that. In the weeks that followed, people continued to talk about the day Jungkook stood up for a grandmother paying with coins. It wasn't a grand concert or a televised speech, just an ordinary afternoon that turned extraordinary because one man chose empathy over indifference. Later, when Jungkook visited the family again, he brought a small frame, a photo someone had taken that day, showing the grandmother, her grandson, and him at the checkout counter, smiling together. On the back, he had written one sentence in his neat handwriting. Asterisk, asterisk. Kindness doesn't need an audience, only courage. Asterisk, asterisk. And with that, he smiled, said goodbye, and left quietly, leaving behind not just groceries, but a memory that would echo forever. The automatic doors of the supermarket hissed open, allowing the trio Elara, the grandmother, Liam, and Jungkook to step out into the crisp afternoon air. The shift from the harsh fluorescent light inside to the gentle warmth of the sun felt like crossing a boundary, leaving the tense, humiliating scene behind them. Elara clutched the handle of the full cart. It wasn't just full of groceries. It was overflowing with a sensation she hadn't felt in years. Abundance. Liam walked beside her, his small hand securely in hers, his eyes wide and bright. He wasn't just holding a box of his favorite chocolate cookies. He He was holding a brand new, brightly colored space shuttle toy, the kind he only ever saw advertised on television. "I can't believe we have all this, Grandma," Liam whispered, his voice hushed with awe. Ilara could only shake her head, tears still welling in her eyes, though these were tears of gratitude, not shame. "Neither can I, sweetheart." Jungkook gently took the cart key from Ilara's trembling hand and inserted it into the lock of her worn, old sedan. He began loading the bags, heavy sacks of rice, fresh produce, toiletries, and enough milk to last them for weeks. "Are you sure you'll be okay, ma'am?" he asked, his voice low and concerned, free from the booming authority he had used inside. Ilara nodded, finding her voice. "More than okay, Jungkook. You didn't just pay for our groceries. You stood up for us when no one else would. You gave me back my dignity." He leaned against the car, looking at them both. "You never lost it, Ilara. Dignity isn't something a person can take away with a mean word. It's something you carry inside." He paused, then crouched down to Liam's level one last time. "You be sure to help your grandma carry those bags, okay, buddy? You're the man of the house now." Liam stood tall, puffing out his chest. "I will." "Thank you, Jungkook. This is the best day ever." Jungkook ruffled his hair and smiled a genuine, warm smile that somehow felt more intimate and powerful than the stadium lights he was used to. "Go on then. Have a good day. And don't forget to smile." He closed the trunk, gave Ilara a respectful nod, and without waiting for further thanks, turned and walked back toward his own car, parked several spots away. He slipped into the driver's seat, pulled his cap low, and melted back into the ordinary traffic, leaving behind a profound stillness in their lives. As Ilara drove away, she looked in the rearview mirror and saw a small group of shoppers still clustered near the store entrance, pointing and murmuring. The incident, she knew, was far from over. Viral firestorm. Back inside the store, the aftermath was immediate and chaotic. The humiliated cashier, Mark, was standing frozen behind the counter. He had been sent home early, a hasty, temporary suspension. As he walked through the break room, his co-workers avoided eye contact. He felt not just the shame of being reprimanded by his manager, but the much deeper, more chilling shame of having been rebuked by a global icon in front of an audience. Mark stumbled into his small apartment, expecting to be swallowed by anonymity. Instead, he found the world waiting for him. He pulled out his phone, and a deluge of notifications instantly crashed the screen. On every social media platform, the same blurry video dominated the trending topics. Title: BTS Jungkook destroys. Rude cashier for humiliating old woman. The video, shot shakily by the shopper near the magazine rack, was clear enough. Mark's sneering face, his sharp words about coins, Ilara's trembling hand, and then Jungkook's calm, commanding entrance. The comments sections were a digital bonfire. User at Army for Life 7. He's everything good in the world. Mark, you are a disgrace. User at Jake Protector. Fire this guy immediately. He deserves to be jobless. Kindness costs nothing. User at Global Citizen. It takes a star to remind us how to be human. Shame on every other customer who just stood there. Mark didn't need to read more. His identity was exposed. His name, thanks to a quickly zoomed-in employee badge, was circulating globally. He slumped onto his couch, the phone falling from his hand. He wasn't just a rude cashier anymore. He was the villain in a viral morality tale. He had lost his job, his reputation, and, most importantly, his own self-respect, all within the span of 10 minutes over a handful of quarters. A promise kept. A few days later, the news cycle hadn't slowed down. The store released their official statement, confirming Mark's firing and promising staff retraining. Ilara's story, her late daughter, the cookies, the sacrifice, had been pieced together by local reporters and broadcast worldwide. The narrative had crystallized. The grandmother, the hero, and the humiliator. Ilara and Liam were trying to regain a sense of normalcy. Liam still talked excitedly about his space shuttle and ate his cookies with deliberate slowness. That evening, as Ilara was preparing dinner, her old flip phone rang. The number was unfamiliar. "Hello?" She answered tentatively. "Hello, ma'am," said a familiar voice on the other end. It's Jungkook. Ilara froze, nearly dropping the frying pan. Oh, Jungkook, I didn't expect this. Her voice was a mixture of shock and utter delight. I apologize for calling unexpectedly, he said, his voice warm and sincere. I just wanted to check on you and Liam. I hope you're both doing well, and that those groceries are lasting. They are lasting wonderfully, Ilara chuckled, gripping the phone tighter. We have everything we need, thanks to you. We've been blessed. You deserve every blessing, Ilara, he replied softly. And that brings me to why I called. You mentioned that Liam's mother passed away. I gathered a small bit of information. He's a very bright boy. I saw it in his eyes. Ilara's heart pounded. He is. He loves to read, Jungkook continued, his tone turning practical and serious. I've arranged for a small scholarship for him. It's entirely managed by my foundation's private council. It will cover his full tuition and books through his university years, providing he maintains a satisfactory GPA. He's got a bright future, and I want to help him reach it. Ilara leaned against the counter, suddenly weak. The tears came again, this time silent and heavy. This wasn't just money. It was the future, the one she had worried about every night since her daughter's passing. I don't know what to say, she managed to whisper. I can't accept something so monumental. You've already accepted it, Jungkook gently corrected. It's a done deal, filed under the name of a private donor. It's a gift, Ilara, not a loan. It comes with no conditions, except for one. He lowered his voice, making the promise sound intimate and profound. Just promise me one thing. Keep smiling. The world needs more of that, especially Liam. He needs to see your strength. Ilara took a deep, shaky breath, looking across the room at Liam, who was quietly assembling his space shuttle. I promise, she whispered. Thank you, Jungkook. You are truly an angel. Just an ordinary guy who saw something that needed fixing, he replied. Take care, Ilara. I'll keep in touch. The line went dead. Ilara stood there, phone in hand, realizing that the one gold coin she had carefully saved years ago, a sentimental keepsake from her late husband, paled in comparison to the pure gold heart of the man who had just changed her grandson's life forever. Chapter 3. The Price of Disdain. The fallout, Mark had always seen his job as a necessary evil. He wasn't malicious by nature, but 2 years of standing on his feet, dealing with long hours, low pay, and perpetually impatient customers had worn down his empathy, replacing it with a cynical, irritable shell. Now, his shell was cracked wide open. His firing was effective immediately. The store manager, a nervous man named Mr. Choi, had been apologetic but firm. Mark, the store is being inundated with calls and threats. Our social media accounts are locked. Headquarters insists on a severe and public response. I'm sorry, but we have to let you go. The real punishment, however, wasn't the loss of his paycheck. It was the loss of his peace. Mark couldn't leave his apartment. Reporters, tipped off by former colleagues or online sleuths, were camped outside the building. His name, Mark Cho, was now a searchable epithet for rudeness. He tried to apply for other minimum wage jobs online, but within hours, he would receive a curt, standardized rejection email the moment he submitted his resume. The hiring manager undoubtedly Googled his name and saw the viral clips. He was unemployable. The worst part was the reaction of his mother. Mark, she had said during a tearful phone call, I raised you better than this. That woman, she could have been me. Have you thought about that? The man who stood up for her, Jungkook. He has everything, but he chose kindness. You have little, and you chose cruelty. What were you thinking? Her disappointment stung more than the millions of online condemnations combined. Mark spent his days locked inside, scrolling through the comments, letting the hatred wash over him. At first, he felt defensive. It was just a few coins. It was a busy day. But the more he rewatched the video, the more his defenses crumbled. He saw his own face, contemptuous, impatient, and utterly dismissive of another person's humanity. He saw Ilara's shame and Liam's heartbroken confusion over the cookies. What kind of person does that make you? Jungkook's calm question echoed in his mind, louder than any angry tweet. It makes you a villain, he thought bitterly. A path to atonement. After a week of self-imposed exile, Mark reached a breaking point. He had to do something. Sitting here, wallowing in self-pity, was just perpetuating the cruelty. He contacted Mr. Choi, his former manager, for the first time since his termination. "Mr. Choi, I know I was fired, and I know I deserve it," Mark said, his voice husky from disuse. "But I need a favor. I need to find the grandmother. I need to apologize." Mr. Choi, who had endured a miserable week of corporate fallout, sounded cautious. "Mark, I can't give out customer information. It's against policy, especially now." "I'm not asking for her address," Mark pleaded. "Just her name. I need to find a way to contact her or send her a letter. This isn't for the media. This is for me. I can't live with myself knowing the pain I caused her and that boy." Mr. Choi sighed, recognizing the genuine remorse in Mark's tone. He hesitated, then whispered, "Her name is Elara Choi. I'll send you the official store apology statement where we mentioned a desire to connect. You can attach a personal note there." He added a solemn warning. "If this gets out, Mark, you'll be digging a deeper hole." Mark hung up the phone with a sense of grim determination. He sat down at his small desk and pulled out a fresh sheet of paper. He started writing, tearing up the first 5 drafts. They sounded too corporate, too self-pitying. Finally, he wrote simply, "Dear Elara Choi and Liam, I am the cashier who behaved so shamefully toward you last week. There are no words sufficient to express my regret. Watching the video, I was disgusted by the person I saw. A person who let his own cynicism hurt someone genuinely kind. I am truly sorry for the humiliation I caused you both. You were paying with money that was earned with sacrifice, and I treated you with utter disrespect. I have lost my job, and I have lost my peace. But that is nothing compared to the dignity I tried to take from you. I hope that one day, you can accept my sincere apology. I want to learn from this. I want to be a kinder person. Sincerely and remorsefully, Mark Cho." He sealed the letter and contacted a local community center, explaining his predicament and asking for their help in forwarding a private, genuine apology to the elderly woman who had been in the news. He added a small anonymous cashier's bonus, the last $200 he had saved inside the envelope, with a note, "For Liam's future cookies." He didn't do it to redeem himself in the eyes of the public. He did it because he genuinely wanted her forgiveness. He had been given a harsh lesson by Jungkook, and he knew that kindness, like dignity, was something that had to be earned back, one quiet action at a time. Chapter 4. The Quiet Anchor. Perspective in the chaos. The days following the supermarket incident were a blur of work and chaos for Jungkook. He was in the middle of a demanding album recording schedule with BTS, and their practice hours were brutal. Yet, the viral moment had unintentionally become his anchor. In the studio, surrounded by sound engineers, producers, and the unrelenting beat of their next hit, he felt the familiar pressure. The pressure to be perfect, to be the golden maknae, to carry the weight of global expectation. But when the noise became too loud, he would close his eyes and recall the quiet moment in the supermarket. Elara's look of relief, Liam's shining eyes, the simple gravity of helping someone without an audience. Jungkook, you seem grounded. The leader of BTS observed during a water break. I know the news about the supermarket is everywhere. Is it a distraction? Jungkook shook his head, taking a sip of water. No, Hyung, it's the opposite. It reminded me what's real. This, he gestured around the multi-million-dollar studio, is amazing. But that moment was human. I just helped someone who needed it. I was just a person, not an idol. It was grounding. He had spent a quiet hour with his personal lawyer, setting up the framework for Liam's scholarship fund. He insisted on absolute anonymity for the foundation, wanting the gift to remain pure and untainted by the media circus. Why such a large commitment, Jungkook? His lawyer had asked gently. You could have paid for his first year of college, and it would still be a tremendous gesture. Jungkook had looked out the window of his high-rise apartment, watching the city lights. Because his grandmother, Elara, is fighting a long war for him, he replied. I just want to make sure she wins it. She sacrificed her own needs for his cookies. That kind of love deserves security. A simple connection. The phone call to Elara, which he made from a secure, private line, wasn't about publicity, it was about responsibility. He felt a profound, almost paternal desire to ensure they were truly okay. His heart warmed when he heard her voice, initially shocked, then filled with gentle laughter. Her promise to keep smiling was the receipt he needed. He felt a quiet satisfaction knowing that he had done something concrete and lasting, something that would outlive the lifespan of any viral video. A few days after the call, Jungkook was at the studio late. He paused his work to check the news headlines, a habit he usually avoided. He saw the update. The store had released a statement acknowledging the cashier Mark's deep remorse and his request to formally apologize. Jungkook leaned back, considering this. His initial anger at Mark had faded, replaced by a complex understanding. Mark was a product of a system that often prioritized efficiency over empathy. He was a cautionary tale, not an irredeemable monster. He opened his notes app and typed out a short message, not for the media, but for his foundation lawyer to discreetly pass on to the community center that had forwarded Mark's letter. Note for Mark Cho: forgiveness is a gift, but changing who you are is a choice. You don't need her forgiveness to start your path. Start today. Be kind to the next person you meet, no matter who they are or how they pay. He knew Ilara had a huge heart. When he heard later that she had received Mark's letter and sent a simple, forgiving message back, asterisk, asterisk. Everyone deserves a second chance, asterisk, asterisk. Jungkook smiled. That's the real hero, he thought. She paid with coins, and she returned the favor with gold. He realized the incident hadn't just changed Ilara and Mark's lives, it had clarified his own purpose. Fame was a tool, but kindness was the foundation. He returned to the microphone, his voice resonating with a deeper, more grounded emotion than before. The next song he recorded that night was about finding the light in small, human moments, a direct result of meeting a grandmother paying with coins. The world would hear that song, but only a few would know its true inspiration. The photo, which he would later frame and give to Ilara, wasn't just a memory, it was a pact. A pact to always use his voice for those who couldn't be heard. The automatic doors of the supermarket hissed open, allowing the trio Ilara, the grandmother, Liam, and Jungkook to step out into the crisp afternoon air. The shift from the harsh fluorescent light inside to the gentle warmth of the sun felt like crossing a boundary, leaving the tense, humiliating scene behind them. Ilara clutched the handle of the full cart. It wasn't just full of groceries. It was overflowing with a sensation she hadn't felt in years. Abundance. Liam walked beside her, his small hand securely in hers, his eyes wide and bright. He wasn't just holding a box of his favorite chocolate cookies. He was holding a brand new, brightly colored space shuttle toy, the kind he only ever saw advertised on television. "I can't believe we have all this, Grandma," Liam whispered, his voice hushed with awe. Ilara could only shake her head, tears still welling in her eyes, though these were tears of gratitude, not shame. "Neither can I, sweetheart." Jungkook gently took the cart key from Ilara's trembling hand and inserted it into the lock of her worn, old sedan. He began loading the bag's heavy sacks of rice, fresh produce, toiletries, and enough milk to last them for weeks. "Are you sure you'll be okay, ma'am?" he asked, his voice low and concerned, free from the booming authority he had used inside. Ilara nodded, finding her voice. "More than okay, Jungkook. You didn't just pay for our groceries. You stood up for us when no one else would. You gave me back my dignity." He leaned against the car, looking at them both. "You never lost it, Ilara. Dignity isn't something a person can take away with a mean word. It's something you carry inside." He paused, then crouched down to Liam's level one last time. "You be sure to help your grandma carry those bags, okay, buddy? You're the man of the house now." Liam stood tall, puffing out his chest. "I will. Thank you, Jungkook. This is the best day ever." Jungkook ruffled his hair and smiled a genuine, warm smile that somehow felt more intimate and powerful than the stadium lights he was used to. "Go on then. Have a good day. And don't forget to smile." He closed the trunk, gave Ilara a respectful nod, and without waiting for further thanks, turned and walked back toward his own car, parked several spots away. He slipped into the driver's seat, pulled his cap low, and melted back into the ordinary traffic. leaving behind a profound stillness in their lives. Acelara drove away. She looked in the rearview mirror and saw a small group of shoppers still clustered near the store entrance, pointing and murmuring. The incident, she knew, was far from over. Viral firestorm. Back inside the store, the aftermath was immediate and chaotic. The humiliated cashier, Mark, was standing frozen behind the counter. He had been sent home early, a hasty, temporary suspension. As he walked through the break room, his co-workers avoided eye contact. He felt not just the shame of being reprimanded by his manager, but the much deeper, more chilling shame of having been rebuked by a global icon in front of an audience. Mark stumbled into his small apartment, expecting to be swallowed by anonymity. Instead, he found the world waiting for him. He pulled out his phone, and a deluge of notifications instantly crashed the screen. On every social media platform, the same blurry video dominated the trending topics. Title: BTS Jungkook destroys rude cashier for humiliating old woman. The video, shot shakily by the shopper near the magazine rack, was clear enough. Mark's sneering face, his sharp words about coins, Alara's trembling hand, and then Jungkook's calm, commanding entrance. The comment sections were a digital bonfire. User at Army for Life 7. He is everything good in the world. Mark, you are a disgrace. User at Jake Protector. Fire this guy immediately. He deserves to be jobless. Kindness costs nothing. User at Global Citizen. It takes a star to remind us how to be human. Shame on every other customer who just stood there. Mark didn't need to read more. His identity was exposed. His name, thanks to a quickly zoomed-in employee badge, was circulating globally. He slumped onto his couch, the phone falling from his hand. He wasn't just a rude cashier anymore. He was the villain in a viral morality tale. He had lost his job, his reputation, and, most importantly, his own self-respect. All within the span of 10 minutes, over a handful of quarters. A promise kept. A few days later, the news cycle hadn't slowed down. The store released their official statement,